Designing Dishes is making eggplant rollatini today, and it's an Italian restaurant favorite, but often not very healthy. We're making a healthy version today.
One of the reasons that eggplant rollatini and eggplant parmesan is not always healthy for you is because in a restaurant, most of the time the eggplant is battered and fried. We're going to be baking our eggplant in the oven. Okay, we have cut our eggplant into slices that are about 1/4 of an inch thick.
Now, if you want to use a mandolin, that's an idea, Ronnie, if your hand is not real steady and slicing that, but you did a great job in slicing those.
Well, some of them are thicker than others, but we'll account for that in the baking process. We'll take some of them out before if they start to cook more rapidly. But yeah, you do want them to be about 1/4 of an inch thick.
Okay. We're going to prep our baking pan with olive oil spray. And just spray that on there, and sometimes I just use my finger and kind of get that all around there, which is a good idea. Okay.
Okay, and so now we're going to kind of fit these on there and give you some to do too.
Sure.
Kind of like a jigsaw puzzle, you know, one going one direction, one going the other. You're going to need about 2 eggplants, 1 to 2 eggplants, depending upon the size of the eggplant. You need about 12 slices altogether.
And that's going to take 2 baking sheets.
In fact, we'll put this one on that other sheet.
Okay, that's good. As soon as we're done with this, we're going to be popping them in the oven.
Yeah, and we're going to bake them at 400 degrees for about 5 minutes. And again, watch, and you may need to take, like this guy that's kind of thick on the end, that might need a little bit more than 5 minutes.
To make our eggplant rollatini a little more healthy, we're using part skim ricotta. There's also low-fat, no-fat ricotta. We're also adding 1/2 cup of Parmesan cheese and 1/2 cup of asiago cheese.
And while Jan blends that up, I'll add 2 large eggs and our seasonings, which is a teaspoon of Italian seasoning, salt and pepper to taste. You can also add some additional basil, oregano, thyme if you want to do it your own instead of using the Italian seasoning. Now, to further make this healthy, we're adding some greens. We're adding 5 ounces of frozen spinach, for which we have pressed out all the extra juice. You can also use fresh kale or Swiss chard that you simply put in boiling water for about 1 minute just to blanch it and then chop it up. This adds a lot of extra nutrition to this dish and gives your family a bit more of a vegetable. If your kids will go for the green color that this finally winds up being once it's thoroughly mixed, then you've got an extra vegetable down. Here we have our baked eggplant slices. And again, we bake them until they're nice and soft and pliable. They are going to bake in the oven, so you really don't have to bake them all the way through. And we put a nice, generous tablespoon of our filling on the narrow end of the eggplant. And we're going to gently just roll that over and roll it up. And we're going to lay it seam side down. Now in this little dish, we're going to bake ours in individual baking dishes. And this we have put a little bit of marinara sauce in the bottom of the greased container, seam side down. We're going to make 2 rolls to go in each container, and 2 is really a perfect serving size. Again, a nice tablespoon. Roll, and it's a gentle roll. Roll hard, you'll squish all the filling out. All right. Now, after we finish assembling all of our eggplant rolls, then we'll finish up with the sauce on the top.
We're spooning marinara down the center of the eggplant. Now, the reason we're going down the center, we want the nice purple edges to show on our eggplant. We're using a total for all the eggplant of 3 cups of marinara. You can use prepared marinara. You can make your own. We're using, and going to put over the top, some grated mozzarella cheese. It's a total of 8 ounces divided between all your au gratin containers. And 1/2 cup of asiago cheese. We're putting that on the top too before we pop them in the oven.
Now for this recipe, you're going to bake the eggplant first with a cover on, a foil cover. And what I'm doing is spraying the bottom side of that foil with a little bit of non-stick spray, and that will keep the cheese from sticking to the aluminum foil. So cover it tightly, and we're going to bake it for about 25 minutes for the individual size. It would be 30 minutes for the big size. Then we take the cover off and bake it for about 15 to 20 minutes more. And the temperature is 350.
Designing Dishes hopes that you've enjoyed our healthy version of eggplant rollatini baked in the oven with our low-fat cheeses.
And if you have any specific questions about this recipe, you can always find us on our social media, like our Gmail and our Twitter account and our Facebook account. We're Designing Dishes on all of those.
We'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.